You actually don't have a content problem. You have a conviction problem. And there is so much in today's video that is going to support you. If you don't have an opportunity to take notes, make sure that you rewatch this and take notes because it's going to serve and support you on a whole nother level. Okay. So a lot of times we think that we need fresh content, we need more content ideas. But what you really need is to believe in the ones that you already have. This is the big disconnect when people are using something like AI or ChatGPT to write their content. Their content sounds amazing. The problem is their beliefs and their certainty and their knowing doesn't back up what the content is saying. So there's a huge disconnect and they're going to keep putting out this amazing content. But if they got on video and tried to portray that content, it would not land. It would not come across. It would be like, oh, she doesn't even believe what she's saying. And the audience would see straight through that. That's why it's great to have great copy. It's great to have what, ChatGPT says. But if you can't back it up, there is a disconnect. And so we've got to get on board and be convicted and believe in the stuff that we're actually saying, right? A lot of us aren't selling our own Kool-Aid. We're like literally are using our own Kool-Aid. So where is the disconnect in your content? The truth is this isn't a strategy problem. It's a conviction problem because you're feeling in your content. If you're not feeling your content yourself, your audience definitely isn't going to feel it, right? And so when we are tapped into our conviction, we're going to feel what we post. We're going to have emotions around what we post, and our audience is going to feel that through the content, right? If you don't feel like your content is landing, it's not because you're missing a trend. It's not because your messaging isn't saying it the right way. It's because your message isn't coming from belief. And so we want to make sure that we're always owning that and we're always putting that knowing and that certainty behind our content. So content gets attention. Conviction builds the trust. And the content and the attention and the trust from that creates clarity that creates action. And so that's a big game changer, right? So when we speak from conviction, my clients know this, they tell me this all the time. When we speak from conviction, you become unscrollable, meaning you are a pattern interrupt in the normal noise of newsfeed. You are pulling people in because you go from being just visible, right, to being unforgettable. And that's where we want to be with our audience. We want to become unforgettable because that helps all of the visibility efforts that we put out there. I remember when I created a video to check a box. First of all, we've all done this. We've all done this. We will all do this. It will happen, right? But I was also talking about an offer, and I didn't feel it in the video that I was talking. And so therefore I knew my audience wasn't going to feel it. It just felt really disconnected. And I was like, I'm deleting that video. I'm going to take a reset. I'm going to walk away. I'm going to recalibrate. I'm going to tap back into my beliefs and my conviction. And then I will go do the video again. I don't normally delete videos if they're just, not the best. But I knew that my conviction was nowhere tapped into this video. I was frustrated about something before, not focused on my audience, not focused on the end result, not focused on where I should be. And so it was meh. And I don't want to put out a bunch of meh content because guess what? When you put out a bunch of that type of content, people scroll on by. Maybe it was the first time they interacted with you, or maybe it was the day they were ready to buy. I don't want that on my feed. I don't want it on my feed. So if your voice doesn't move you, if your message doesn't move you, if the words that you type on a screen don't move you, they're not going to move anybody else. I was on a training with my coach this morning and she was talking about activating. Like, we are never going to activate somebody else if we aren't activating ourselves. This is like true leadership. This is self-leadership. Go first. I go first. I am the evidence. I don't expect anybody else to make a move until I do. So again, if you're not moved by what you're saying, your audience isn't going to be either. I can have the best script ever, but if I don't have the belief to back it up, if I don't have the knowing and the conviction to back it up, it doesn't matter. It's just a bunch of words coming out of my mouth. So here are 3 signs, and these may be subtle, that it is a conviction problem, okay? You're constantly creating content, but nothing sticks. How many people feel this? You're sharing. It's not from belief. It's not from your heart and soul. So it's really going to blend into all the other noise on the internet. The second thing is you second guess or edit down your message. If you're always trimming the truth, if you're always watering yourself down because you're afraid of what people will say or afraid of how they'll perceive something, your people can't feel you. Plain and simple. Okay. And number 3, you're relying on trends instead of leading with your truth. There is a place for trends, but for the most part, we want to create evergreen content. That means if somebody sees it a year from now, you still like get to their soul. You go viral in their soul from that piece of content. What you believe is always going to be more powerful than what is trending. Visibility doesn't start with content. It honestly starts with courage, because most of us are not being authentic. We're not being vulnerable. We're not being the real version of us. We don't say the things that we think because we're afraid of being canceled, hated, rude comments. I get rude comments all the time. I don't even look at them. Okay. You don't need a new strategy. How many people just went, thank you? You don't need a new strategy. You need to deepen your belief. You need to deepen your certainty. You need to deepen in what you already know to be true, and then build on that every single day, behind the scenes, when nobody's watching, when you're not on video. Deepen that. And when you fully own your voice, your content becomes the evidence of your leadership, not just noise online. It becomes the walk you walk, not just the talk you talk. It becomes the integrity. It becomes your standards. It becomes so much more. This is why it's so important, okay? The most magnetic content isn't always the most polished, the overproduced with the best intro, right? It's the most certain. It's the clearest. It's the most embodied, because the person it's coming from really believes in what they're saying. So just to wrap all of this up, your audience doesn't need more tips. They need your truth. They need the truth that you believe in, the truth that you know, the truth that you're certain about. And if this hit home, your next step is to find out where you rank in the whole scale of visibility. And so in the description, there is an opportunity for you to take a quiz. And it is Am I a Visible CEO quiz? And there are 4 different ways that you can rank on this quiz. So make sure that you check that out. Grab that link. Find out where you rank on the visibility scale, so you know where to improve, you know where you can improve, you know where you can grow. And I believe as an entrepreneur, we are always wanting to be better. We're always wanting to improve. And this is one way that can show you exactly where you're at and how you can get better at visibility.